Okay, so you
Well, hello, bonus evening shift number two or bonus session number two. So this was just again follow up to the event, to the workshop, to answer any questions. So as people jump on, I have Linda on here, so we're going to chat a little bit. If not, we'll just post this recording and everybody will have access to it. But if you have any other questions, if you're catching the recording, please feel free to reach out and book a call, and we can have this type of conversation together to kind of follow up with any questions you have, narrow any, action plans down, give you some guidance, that type of thing. So that's about it. Hello, my
Ec-
friend.
hello. How are you?
Good. So
Good.
what are your thoughts from the workshop? How's your action plan going?
Well, the workshop was amazing. I was really glad that I joined into that. It just sort of tweaked some thoughts for me, like I think that's the big thing. Like I've been doing a lot of thinking since then,
Mhm.
and as to whether I have an actual action plan together, that's what maybe you and I can talk about right
Sure,
now.
yeah, for sure.
But definitely, like I've been doing a little bit of journaling and I mean, just writing things down as to, maybe how I can move more towards what I'm wanting to do. So I do think that, being on that webinar that you had last week definitely has tweaked some thoughts and just different things to think about, things like my values, and I'm just paying a little bit more attention to that. And it's really interesting. Like since then, I've been like just watching shows, and I'm actually like kind of binge watching The Crown right now. And it's really interesting how even just watching certain shows, you pick up on things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That you see in how they've written the script of the show. And it's just kind of like, that's kind of the same thing as what, you know, Alana was teaching us and just kind of how you can implement it. So it's kind of cool how it just brings the awareness out. It's crazy.
It's so true. Like it's funny you watch like especially I find Disney shows as well. It's a lot of this messaging like in there, in their script and stuff like that. Like just some of the thoughts of, creation of what you want and these types of things. So it's just interesting, like you said, when you bring the awareness to it of how it unfolds or comes out, shows up, now that
Oh,
you're thinking about it.
yeah. And then you find yourself like, I don't know, I do anyways. Like, so when I see something like that on a show or something, or maybe it's something you see on Facebook, like one of those little inspirational things, like, but I find myself then like putting it into my own context. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I see it there, but then it makes me think more about how it works for myself.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's great.
So what was your takeaway from the crown?
What's
Like
that?
what inspired, do you remember what the inspired thought was from the
I
crown?
don't really specifically know, but I just no, I don't remember. I should have wrote it down because there was one scene and I'm like, wow, like it was all about sort of like manifestation and like and just I'm living your dream and going for what you want, right? And I
Hmm.
guess in their sort of scenario, a lot of that family wasn't allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So you're seeing that a lot, that they weren't allowed to do that. They were sort of by law like told how they were going to live their life. And it's really interesting, when you just see that. And then the freedom that we have now and the fact that we're all learning this about allowing ourselves that freedom
Hmm.
to
It's
dream.
it's definitely a thing right now, right? Like you look back even at one generation, and this was not the case. This is something that's really unfolding now as we're going through this, of stepping into your dreams and really following it. I mean, some people have been doing it, but it hasn't been the norm, right? It hasn't been what we've been taught, and we're
Oh,
changing this generational idea and societal like idea of how we're supposed to live our life. It's not just previously it was like go get an education. We talked about this afternoon, actually. Go get an education, go get a job, go, make sure you have a 401k or a retirement savings plan. And those types of ideas, not that they're not valid, but they're just not valid for everybody. And to change and do what you want. Like before I started doing this work, nobody said to me, you know, build your life from the back, like from one end, like what would you love and go from there versus what do you want to do and what can you do and not just what makes you happy.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And I do find sometimes too that it is difficult to get out of that way of thinking. You
Yeah.
know, like for myself, I do sometimes I feel very inspired by my vision and I feel very inspired by my dreams and I feel like I can have anything I want and I get that really it's a cool feeling like, you know,
Mhm.
when it starts to take a hold of you, like I feel very excited about it. But then other times, like it's like there's a shadow over me and it just kind of squashes everything.
Mm.
And and I think maybe that's part of why it's important to keep in the material. Do you know what I mean? And to keep
Yeah.
doing it because as much as it would be brilliant to be able to take a course and then, you know, you're on your
Lock it in and you're good, right?
yeah, but you know, I don't think it works that way. I wish it did, but I'm finding that it doesn't, right? Like it's really an up and down. Like um and
Well,
sometimes
it's
I just
years of programming, right? Years of programming. And I was listening to a Dr. Joe call. There was a couple things I wanted to put into the group today, so I'll remember to do that. Um, but I was listening to a Dr. Joe like reel or something or a short on YouTube, I think it was. And he said it really takes if it was if we could do it easily, everyone would do it, right? We
Mhm.
would already everyone would shift, everyone would change their life in an instant. But it's the practice, like you said, of really deciding what you really want and being consistent in it. And like you said, even surrounding yourself with the right people. And that's why, starting the circle of people is to help that, to be able to, this success mastery circle is to be able to have that community of people around you that you feel inspiration, you feel that keeping yourself on track with it. That's the purpose of it. But like you said, having that consistently staying in the material of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So where are you at with your action plan? What are your thoughts? You said you wanted some assistance or support.
Well, I guess I feel like I have a lot of thoughts and I have a lot of ideas. I think where I get stuck is the actual action.
Okay.
Um and I guess sometimes too where I get stuck is sort of wondering about the how, which I hesitate to say that because I know we're not supposed to worry about the how. But honestly, like that does get in the way, you
Mhm.
know? It's like, well, I'm not sure how to get this website going, or I'm not sure how to make it so that I can charge people to do what I want to do. You know, like I feel like there's a lot of roadblocks of um I don't want to say ignorance, but that's the word that comes to my mind of not having the technical knowledge or not having the um not education but experience maybe of knowing what to do and how to make it all fall into place, right? So I
Right.
find that times when I hit that, then I just recede back,
Well,
right?
and this is one of the reasons why I want to have this circle of people so that we can have these types of conversations. Because I mean, everybody has their own skills. And we kind of talked about this on the call earlier today, too, about, we have this vision of where we want to go. And then what we want to do. So when you say, I have a vision, I have an idea, but then how do you break it down? So we go back into what's the next, what are the action steps? Okay, so you pick your two or three things that you really want to achieve this year, 2024, and you kind of reverse engineer them to figure out, okay, so if this is where I want to be at the end of the year, what do I need to do for here? What do I need to do for here? And we talked about this afternoon about changing it from a need to like, I need to have it here and feeling the pressure of that to just like using language. I think we touched on this in the workshop of using language that works for you, of like, this is my goal or something I would love to do, whatever that might be. And then as you talk about like not knowing and having you know, um, you use the word ignorance, but like not having the knowledge or understanding of exactly the how. We don't need to know the how, but again, when you're in a group of people, or even just like you said, you've connected to a bunch of other people in your circle that you now have as like a connection that you're have access to. So like the real estate agents, the variety of people that you're connected with. And we talked about this too, was like the fact that us together in this conversation, there's two of us in this call, but when there's two of us together, there's actually a third mind that's created. So we can bounce ideas off each other, give you a different perspective. I also bring different skills and expertise to the table as well. So when you're in a community of people that are in that space, then you could kind of use each other and each other's resources, right? As a mastermind to be able to connect with other people and be able to support each other that way.
Mhm.
Because when you talk about websites, I mean, like I have some experience where I've been able to build websites, or how do you create that? What's the next step? And your original question was about the how. The purpose is to create the vision and even the action plan. We create the action plan so that it's just where do I feel I need to go, and give you some direction, set an intention so you have clarity. And then when you have clarity, you set that intention and then you start taking action. It's like going up a staircase. You don't need to see all the stairs. You just need to see the next step.
Mhm.
And as you take that next step, the people, the resources, the opportunities, because you're in alignment with it, are showing up. The opportunities where you'll connect with the right person that's going to help you with your website, or help you with this, or give you guidance there. It might be in this community, might be people that you're connected with already. But when you're in alignment and have clarity, again, we need to be aware and then in alignment. So the clarity is the awareness. It's having awareness of where you want to go and what that looks like, what that really looks like.
Mhm.
And then, okay, so now that you have that clarity, you could start taking action steps towards it. You could start taking that first step so that the next step will be revealed to you.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. Yeah. So really it's just putting one step in front of the other, right? Like one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just for this, like right now, we're creating this action plan in a moment, right? So things change and we shift, and our vision changes and shifts, and we pivot, we adjust, we move, we make changes. But
Mhm.
even if we create a 90-day action plan today, that just helps give you guidance. It may change today, tomorrow, over the next 30 days, over the next 60 days. But at least it gives you a place to start, and you have a clearer path versus I know where I want to go. And I don't even know where I'm going. Like it gives you more defined, um, just a more defined path of like, where am I going and how can I get there? So that you don't have to, you can actually release some of the how, because you feel that comfort in having a plan. You feel that understanding of what you really want, right? And
Mhm.
just even doing taking pen to paper and writing it down is part of the magic. Like how many people do I could tell you of all kinds of people that have written stuff and now have achieved what they've written because they
I've
wrote it
heard
down.
that too. I have heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and I have sort of experienced that a little, and not that things have happened, but I have experienced that when I do start to write, that all of a sudden it just sort of like takes off. And all these ideas just start flowing out, and all this stuff just gets
Yeah.
written on paper, and you think, where did all that come from, right? Like it's it is kind of it is good. It is good, the writing down.
Yeah. So it's all the
So
pieces, right? That works towards where you want to go. But again, it's just getting super clear on what you would love. So what would you love in 2024?
what would I love in 2024? I
Yeah.
would love to, I can say it out loud because I'm not at work now. I would love to be self-employed in my own health and wellness business. There's two parts of it. There's an online part of it, and then there's a physical part of it as well. So
Mhm.
I would love to have the time and the energy and the ability to build that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm.
So with that in mind, so when you think about self-employed, let's get a little more defined here. When you think about self-employed, do you want to still be working at your job at the end of the year?
I think not.
Okay. So full-time self-employed.
Mm.
So in order for you to create that, what would that look like? So, you need to supplement some of your income, obviously.
Oh, for sure. So I have to find other means of acquiring income, right?
Hmm. Well, through your
Yeah.
business, right? That would be the plan, is to have it through your business.
Yeah.
So,
For my
but it's
business.
like, what does that number look like? What do you need to have so that your business is sustaining you? right? So figure out whatever that number would need to be, and not that you need to have the number or you need to have that exact amount of money. But again, being clear is kind. And when we have clarity, we can start moving towards it. We're giving ourselves that goal to achieve, right?
Right.
So, and you'd want to, if you're full-time employed and like when you start reverse engineering this, when do you want to be able to leave your job? And you're going to have a bit of a plan to leave your job, right? You're not just going to be like, okay, I'm done. I doubt,
Mhm.
right? And be
Yeah.
done that day. You want to give them notice and stuff like that. But then you want to start creating, when you start reverse engineering it, what are the paths or what are the sources of income that you're creating? You want this health and wellness, and you don't need to know the exact, okay, I'm going to have these services in this building. Like, you don't need to have all the stuff, but where would you like to be in 6 months? So knowing that you want to be left your job, and have working full time in your business, where do you feel like you need to be in like 6 months, or you would like to be in 6 months?
I guess in 6 months, I feel like I need to have something established
Hmm.
as for an online business or whatever it is that I want to do. So I guess in my mind, I'm thinking like a year from now or December 2024 is when I would like to be finished with
Hmm.
what I'm doing. Like, and I don't know if I'm picking that because at the end of a year, probably I am, but
That's okay.
yeah. So
And
that is
this
what's
is
in
the
mind. That
beauty of it, is that you can write it down and it can change, and that's
yeah,
okay.
that's okay. Yeah, yeah.
But if we don't put something down, then you're like, again, you're not being clear. You're like, okay, well, you end up dragging it out, or you end up doing something that you don't want to do. You want to make it clear for yourself.
Right. Oh, excuse me.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
So I think in 6 months from now, like if in my mind I want to be done working, like, my 9 to 5 by the end of the year, then, in 6 months from now or halfway through the year, I need to at least have something in place. I need to
Mhm.
have developed and built some kind of a platform that I am starting to implement, that I'm attracting people to, that I'm starting to get clients, that I'm starting to, you know, um, learn how to do that whole social media, getting people, involved and interested in paying for my services,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, for sure. So established online services and platform in 6 months, at 6 months time. So in 3 months, in the next 3 months, what does that feel like?
So in the next 3 months, I would say I need to be like collecting um material, collecting like what's the word I'm looking for?
Resources?
Well, resources, but um products, like sort of developing what it is that I want to sell on my platform,
Hmm.
um, and getting together some stuff to put there, like, so I need to be, researching different modes of exercise, or need to be researching and developing some meditations or recipes, healthy recipes, like just different things, right? I need to
Yeah.
be starting to develop some of that and making that plan.
So making a bit of a library of resources
Yeah,
or materials that you can have to either give out or share or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And then, when you're thinking of creating your own business, there's business steps to take, right? So what are you calling your business? How are you incorporating your business? At what stage do you want to start doing that? Like you said, just doing the research, and it just in the next 90 days, if you want to have a goal of, like, let's say, what if in 90 days you're launching your business? So you got the next 90 days to start doing the research, doing the legwork, doing the finding the resources you need in the process to be able to start to create that, right? So if you have, like, you did a launch in 3 months, that gives you 3 months to get things fairly established and have an idea, do some, like, in those 3 to 6 month time frame, you could be doing things like trials and figuring out what works with people. Like, you're currently already running some things for free. You could start testing out charging for things, and in the next 3 months, or doing some focus groups, or it's another word I'm looking for. Polls, like just testing your
Mm,
audience, right? Like figuring out get their feedback. That's the word I'm looking for, feedback.
right.
Get some feedback for what people want, right? Versus what do you love to do? You know, you start coming up with ideas of what you would love to do and what you'd like to to create, and start testing out the audience and seeing out what they're looking for to make sure. Because this is the thing, is that a lot of us in the process of building something, we're like, okay, and I've done this is where I've been for the last 6 months. It's like, okay, I have this idea, and then I throw it out there and see who picks up on it, see who's interested in it. Right?
Right.
Like, you don't want to create it in a silo and be like, okay, I'm going to come up with this whole big, beautiful plan. And then you go to offer it and you get crickets because nobody is even interested, right? So you start asking. This is one of the things I learned from one of my coaches is like making sure you're getting the feedback, and you can get feedback from people that aren't even your clients yet, right? And you're gonna get feedback from the people that are either in your free group or a community like this. Like if we're asking questions like, well, why wouldn't you ask the people that you're connected with and say, or people you're on other calls with or whatever? I'm just asking questions, right? So you can offer feedback and or offer to try things out with people, offer things for free to see if they can try it and give you some feedback on it, right?
Right.
And
Right.
you were with me in my beta round of the Soul's Journey program, right? So I was using your feedback to change and adapt things as we were going through, right? So feedback's
Right.
powerful.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, feedback is great. And I mean, taking that feedback and not taking, if you want to say, take offense to it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we can take
Constructive.
feedback and make it into a negative, whereas you have to look at it as constructive. And yeah, like you say,
Mhm.
constructive, and that whether it be positive, whether it be negative, I mean, all that negative, turn it into a positive because it's teaching you something, right? So yeah, for sure.
So how does it feel to do like maybe a launch in 60 days or 90 days?
Oh, it feels scary. Um, it feels scary, but it feels exciting too, right? So again, it depends on my day. Some days I feel like, yeah, like I can do this and I want to do this. And then others days like, oh, but it's really easy just to go to my job. You know what I mean? Like it depends on
Mhm.
the day. So it's trying to keep your mindset in that more of the excitement and the wonder of what you can do. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So um and it's work to do that because it's so easy to slip back into your habitual patterns and what's easy. Um, but it is exciting to think about having something like that built
Mhm.
and to be promoting it and to be seeing where it can go.
Mhm.
And I don't know where I heard it today. I don't know if it was something I saw on Facebook, but it really did kind of tweak me today. And it's about having fun with what you're doing too. That's so many
Yeah.
times, like, and for me, this is for me, I put a lot of pressure on everything.
Mhm.
I have a hard time just letting go and just doing it just to see what'll happen instead of doing it because it has to happen.
And it's so funny
Like,
that you say this. This is literally, we had this conversation. We touched on this yet this afternoon as well. Like, really, I would suggest going back and watch the recording. It was really good.
yeah, okay.
But we had this conversation because we are creatures of habit, but we're meant to grow. We're here as energetic beings. Like, we only write these goals and visions down and have desires to be able to achieve something. It's to, because like we are here for growth and bigger expansion. Like to there's the words aren't coming to me. You said it earlier in a post, I think, actually. Um, feel free to throw it in there. I can't remember what it
I
is.
know I'm trying to think what it is. We are meant for, it's like further expression and further expansion
Yeah,
or something like that. I know
yeah, exactly.
it is an Angie saying, and she says it like rolls right off her tongue, and every time I try to say it, I can't get it out.
Yeah, and I said it earlier. It's on the recording, I'm sure. Anyway,
Okay.
um, further growth and bigger expansion, or something along the line. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
but
I know what you're saying.
this is it. We're meant to continue to grow. The goals are there for us to continue to grow, to have the growth, to get
Mm,
out of the comfort zone. And when you surround yourself with people, then it makes it easier because then you're not on the journey. You're not feeling like you're on the journey on your own, and it's easier to slide back into the habits of being in that comfort zone. like but there's a reason why it's the comfort zone, because we have no growth. It's easy to be there because we're already there.
Mhm.
But like you said, what if we made it fun? What if it
Mhm.
was just about the joy of the journey and discovering what's going to happen next and what it's going to look like? The how is the best part of watching the unfolding of that, how that's going to work out. This is what
Yeah.
I've been in. Somebody asked me that today, I think actually earlier, like how you're doing, or what are you doing right now? And I said, I'm just excited to watch this unfold. Like I know where I'm going. I have the vision and the goals kind of written out and clear at this point, because I've gone through this workshop too and all the materials, and I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to just see how this is exactly going to unfold and just take one action step after the next and follow what feels right for me, right? So when you're
Right.
in that feeling, and it becomes easy, and because the journey is the joy.
Mhm. Mhm. If we can allow it to. I think if we can allow it to, then it takes on a much lighter direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think sometimes what happens is we just let all that responsibility and all that what's survival mode actually get in the way, right? Like, well, I
Mhm.
have to have money in order to pay my mortgage, and I have to do this because I need money to eat, and I have to, so all those things I think start to get in the way of just the enjoyment.
Mhm.
So if there's any way that we could switch that thought pattern
Mhm.
to having the excitement and the wonder and the joy of doing what you want to do sort of shadow over top of the other.
Yeah. Well, and it's part of the decision, right? Like I was saying earlier about Joe Dispenza, if it was easy to do, everyone would do it. But if we decide that this is something that means the most to us, like when it's going to make the most impact, we're going to find the most joy, and this is what we really truly want to do. So we just need to make a decision about it and say, you know what, I'm gonna continue. And this is where I've been for the last like 6, 7 months, because it hasn't always been easy. And there's times that I'm like, I've sat there going, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But this is where when you surround yourself with the right people, I have people around me that I reach out to and have conversations with when I feel that way. Even my partner, after this length of time, he's one of the people that I turn to when I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, because he's been around long enough to know all the material. He's heard
Yeah,
me repeat it enough times that he tends to repeat some things back to me, and it kind of frustrates me. But at the same time, it makes me stop and go, you know what, you're right, because I this is what I teach for me, right? But we have to sometimes have faith, and that it always works out, and just have fun with it and have the joy. And even for me, that's what my goal for this year too, is creating my business with balance, where I'm not so focused just on my business, but I'm excited and having fun in the process. But there's more to life than just business. So for
yeah,
me, that's one of my goals, is having balance of enjoying the journey in it.
absolutely. Because I think that if you did enjoy the journey more, then you'd still be working, you'd still be developing your business, but it wouldn't feel like work, right? And
Well, to be honest, mine doesn't really feel like work. I do
that's
this stuff all
good.
the
That's
time and I love
awesome.
it. But I spend so much time on it, right? And it just, not that I can't spend time on it, but I tend to lose focus. I spend more time here when I could be spending some time with my family or whatever. So creating some boundaries for me,
Yeah,
is one of
absolutely.
my things. But
Absolutely. Yeah,
just what if because we have create boundaries, or what if it was easy and we had that idea of it was easy, and because we created that idea and that feeling, it became that,
mhm,
and we didn't have to worry about the money. What if we had a belief that we didn't have to worry about the money, and
right.
because of that, it changed everything for you, right?
Mhm,
For
mhm.
us.
I know. It's very exciting to think that way.
Hmm.
It really is. Mhm.
And this is why I want to have these conversations multiple times a week.
Right, right. It's funny because as we're just talking about that, I'm flipping through my pages of the workbook and I came to handling barriers, and what I wrote into there when we were doing it last week, challenges and strategies to overcome. And I'm writing down lack of money, overthinking, worrying about what others think. you know,
Mhm.
judgment of myself. Like it's all those things that we have to find a way to overcome those, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's why specifically for this, the master or success mastery circle, I want to have at least 2 calls a week so that way we can have those times where, you know, things get in the way and we can talk through the things and we can help support each other in the things and stay focused on where we want to really want to be instead of, you know, having a week go by and be like, oh, I got caught up into things and then I got so far behind or whatever, but having constant conversation to be able to help support each other through it.
Right,
That's what I
right.
desire.
Yeah, yeah. So can you explain to me a little more your vision of of the circle that you're thinking of? Like,
Yeah, so we're gonna have at least 2 calls a week, but it's gonna have like a chat as well. So we can, as things come up, if there's any questions, queries, whatever, we can kind of help each other. But it's like the 2 calls a week is one specifically where we can focus on something. Like the first few weeks, I really want to get this 90-day action plan. I have actually I'm gonna utilize some of the tools that I built for the Soul Journey program and that 90-day action plan to be able to really solidify what that looks like for everybody so that they can create that 90-day action plan. Um, and so the first few weeks are just going to be on focusing on that, but then we're also going to have another like 2 calls a week. The second call will be around, okay, so what are your action steps? What are the challenges people are coming up against? How can I help support and help each other support us in the mindset of things or in the when challenges or when we're struggling with things to talk about it because we learn through each other's experiences.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of the vision. So it's 90 days, but when you jump in, we actually get an extra month for free. So it's so it gives you the month to get your action plan in place, plus the 3 months to get your action plan in and do the action plan and take the action and reach your goals.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
And plus people get access to my you have it anyway at this point, but because you've been in my community, have the added bonus right now is to get access to the Awakening Sanctuary as well, to tap into some of the spirituality stuff. Tomorrow is our spiritual Q&A, so that'll be fun. And teaching, because some people wanted to talk about teaching or talk about spirituality. So I'm going to do some teaching on spirituality, intuition, and imagination tomorrow. That was the
Oh,
teaching.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So in that group, for those that don't know, there's 3 meditations every week live that I'm on live Zoom, and it's recorded, put in the group. For every Wednesday afternoon, there's a specific call at, is it 1 p.m. Eastern, I believe. I think it's 2 o'clock my time anyway. But we get on, every day or every week is a different one. So it's like either a hot seat coaching, there is a Q&A, a spiritual Q&A. Then there's a Reiki healing session and what was the other one? Plus I'm gonna have a guest speaker in this month. Starting this month, we're gonna have guest speakers as well.
Nice.
So it'll be
Awesome.
fun.
Yeah, that will be good.
Yeah, so all kinds of fun stuff.
Cool. Cool. Good. Well, I'm going to keep working on this action plan. I mean, I have written some things down. I've done some stuff and some thinking, but again, it's a work in progress, right? Like it's not,
Exactly.
I'm going to keep working on this and
So
yeah.
what do you think your action steps are for this week?
For this week,
Mhm.
I was going to reach out to a couple of people to help me, like to talk about how I can develop what I'm thinking of, and I haven't done that yet. So I think that is one of the big things that I'm going to do this week. I have about 3 or 4 people that I would like to just pick their brain and get their feedback on stuff. So I think I need to reach out to those people. So that's one thing for sure. I think continuing to journal and write stuff on my vision and
Mhm.
keeping that, like building that of all the different things that I'd like to do. And maybe I need to pick like, sort of one thing that I want to build on my knowledge base on. Do you know what I mean? Like, so something that I want to implement into my online business. Something that just things like meditation, like I enjoy it and I have led meditations and I think I'm okay doing it, but I'd like to learn more about it,
Mhm.
Um, so just picking one thing that I can focus on and maybe take some time to learn more about and be more confident in it.
That's brilliant. Even like say, like if your plans in the next, 3 months to launch your business or whatever, just as an idea, you could take 3 months where you focus on one specific thing that you just kind of want to learn and add on to what you currently do.
Mhm,
Like one
mhm.
month could be meditation, one month could be whatever.
Yeah, yeah, because and you see all these courses and stuff popping up on Facebook, and you sometimes wonder how real they are. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Well,
Um,
and this is the thing, it's just even having conversations or connecting with the people that are offering those things just to see what they offer. But it doesn't even mean like, I don't know, in my belief, do we really need a certification or a full training on something? I've been having conversations lately and I might be, maybe I'm just confusing people as opposed to helping people. But anyway, I've been talking to some people about human design because I had somebody, and because there's all kinds of certifications you can get. Like I think there's 3 or 4 levels of human design certification or something. But somebody did my human design profile for me in a reading, basically is what it is, and it's your kind of or human design is kind of your personality profile, but through astrology, right? So it's
right,
using
yeah,
your
yeah.
birthday and whatever. But it gives you some really interesting things. So I've been talking, and there's been a few people I've been talking to this week, and I'm like, okay, when are you born? What time? Blah blah blah. Get all the details, and just did the free like profile. And there's some really interesting things that are coming out for people that it really aligns because it ends up giving you like 5 types. And it's like a manifester, a generator, a manifesting generator, I keep forgetting the word, a projector, and then there's a fifth one that it's like only 1% of the population of people that have it. Anyway, so it explains the different types of profiles, but it gives you some things of like how you make decisions and what do you use for your inner guidance or your inner authority. And it's interesting to kind of find these things that again, I can't do a whole reading for people, but I've been giving them some of just the generic information, and it's really interesting to kind of, I mean, you could go down a whole rabbit hole of it, but to find some of this information. And it's the same thing with like I mean, when people do different readings of different oh, there's a couple of different ones I can't even remember off the top of my head, but
Mhm.
similar to things. But anyway, just interesting how do you really, my point of my story was, do you really need to be certified in something in order just to give some topic information, or you know what I mean, have some basic knowledge on it?
Right, right. Yeah. Mhm.
We're just taught that we need to collect all the information. So this, I'm just trying to shake the idea that do we really need all of the certifications, or can we? I mean, I've never done any training around meditation, but
You haven't.
nope. But it
Mhm.
seems to work. I mean, I've done research, but I haven't done a certification or
I haven't done a
specific.
certification, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because who sets the standard for the certification even?
Well, and that's just it, right? So, and do we put too much emphasis on that, right? And again, that stops us from moving forward to what we want to do
Mhm.
because now we use that as a crutch as to why I can't do it,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So yeah, beautiful. Well, this has been a great conversation.
Well, thank you. This has been so fun. I love having these conversations. Like I said, this is
Oh,
why I want to do this, get into this group so we can kind of have these conversations at least a couple times a week and step into it, create what we really love.
yeah,
Anyway.
definitely. Absolutely.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you so much for joining today and tonight and sharing your thoughts and ideas. And if there's anything you need, I'm here to support you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, sounds good.